Hi, my name is Faizal Hamdoon, a recent graduate from NCCU class of 2016. Got my degree in business management. I'm originally from Sri Lanka, an island below the Indian Ocean. Been here since then and loving it. I came here for a major reason was I had a rare birth defect, 400 known cases around the world. And it was my country at that time in the 1990s, a very, a third world country. And so for that reason, we came here to America to pursue my medical correction. And came here in 1998, went through 14 surgeries, 2 amputations, as well as trying to correct myself walking. And from that process on, I had to go to school. So I went to middle school. Actually, I came here in 3rd grade, elementary, middle, high school. And then I was furthering my education into college. And at the same time, I was also pursuing a future in sports. Since my leg was amputated, I wanted to push myself in different ways. I was always a swimmer. And so didn't want to go the swim route to the Olympics because I wanted to challenge myself. I never ran. And that's how I connected with TJ Walker at the Central coach with the track team.
I met Faizal 4 years ago now. Faizal is a Broughton High School alum, so am I. And he actually was a really good swimmer in Raleigh, North Carolina. And he wanted to take his athleticism outside of swimming. So he fortunately was in the classroom of a former football teammate of mine and a buddy of mine who still coaches at Broughton High School now. And he was speaking of his aspirations. And he said, well, Coach, do you know of anyone who has a track and field experience and who may be coaching in the area? And so my buddy Dorian said, hey, I know the perfect guy. So he gave me a call and said, hey, do you mind if I share your information with this young man? I said, absolutely. So Faizal and I met, myself, Faizal, his mother, and his brother. We all met, and I had a really good opportunity to really see what type of character this young man has, and that was huge for me. This young man has had so many adverse situations and has so many conditions that he's had to overcome, and it was undoubtedly a blessing for me just to be able to insert a little bit of myself into his life and to help him to propel into to the best track and field athlete that he could become. He was a newbie to the sport, never run a day of track and field in his life, didn't know how to set a pair of blocks down, didn't know the start commands. So we had to take him pretty much just from ground zero to have a young man who is an independent athlete outside of the institution, but is familiar with the institution and who is a graduate of this institution, to still be able to represent himself as an NCCU graduate on a national and international stage, hopefully and preferably with the Paralympics. It's phenomenal for me just to have my hands in it. And again, although he's an independent athlete, there is a tie with the institution and the greatness in which Dr. Walker has laid within the Olympic Committee as the president of the U.S. Olympic Committee. And so bringing that Olympic tie back to North Carolina Central University is really good.
I did have to train because I was an aspiring Paralympian. I had to train 24/7 rigorously. So that's the reason I also came here, just so I could train with him while I was going to class. I was always a competitor, honestly. My mom, as a adolescence, I was always pushed by my mother and my father to do sports since, I was not normal in the sense my leg was gone at that time because I lost my leg at the age of 15. And this is when, most men are getting used to their body and getting used to themselves. So I was always a swimmer. She always pushed me swimming, and then I tried wrestling. I wrestled for Broughton High School. And from there, like I said, I wanted to run. I couldn't run, and I had crutches for like 10 years. And so I got sponsored by a company. They gave me a foot underneath, and I became Forrest Gump. I couldn't stop running, and I love running now, and I'm not a big distance person, so I got into sprints. And from there, I wanted to compete at a higher level, and that's when I challenged myself to go into the Olympics. And I was blessed. I was ranked 6th in the world last year in the 200. I was actually pursuing med school since I went through all. As a 6-year-old, I could tell you, I wanted to do medicine. I was always passionate about medicine. I wanted to give back because my parents were very civic organized. They went to a lot of different organizations and gave aid, especially at Mother Teresa's in Sri Lanka. So that always impacted me in the sense I wanted to go to med school route. But then after graduating high school, I had to really get focused, and so I started shadowing doctors. And that's when I made my decision, I do not want to go to med school route, because I had 14 surgeries, and it had a bad taste in my mouth. So I was trying to figure out what next, what does Faizal do next? And my father was a very successful businessman, so I wanted to follow his footsteps. So I took my first business class in Wake Tech. I excelled in it. And after that, honestly, I just fell in love with the trade. I found out more of myself, got comfortable with myself, and then I was like, Faizal, you are a businessman. This is your niche. And so that's how I, came across business, and I just want to take that.
So I met Faizal a couple of years ago at a recruitment event at Wake Tech. I was at a table, and we were talking about the School of Business. And I recall this very enthusiastic and eager young man coming to the table and was very excited because he had just been accepted into the university. And so I talked to him about what his interests were, and of course he told me that he was an athlete and he was interested in business. And so we talked about what his career aspirations were, and we talked a little bit about the curriculums at the School of Business, and he was just so incredibly excited. I knew that he was just going to be this incredibly dedicated and committed student to his studies. And thankfully, he was someone who I could always call on to help us with anything that we had going on. He understood the importance of co-curricular activities, which is something that we do quite frequently here, whether we're bringing lecturers in from industry or whether we're talking to industry about various opportunities for them to become engaged with what we had going on. And so I always called upon him because, again, he was very excited about what it was that he was doing here, and he wanted to be of resource to us in every way that he could be. And there was not a time that he didn't answer the call when we asked him to be involved. And so he ran through this program quicker than anyone that I had experienced from a transfer student perspective. He came in and knew exactly what he wanted to do. He knew exactly the classes that he wanted to take, and he came through this program quickly, but he took full advantage of all the opportunities we were able to provide for him.
One thing I do, per se, not regret, I just wish I was here longer. I was only here 3 semesters. I came here in the spring of 2015, and from then to now, I have had the best time. I love this school. This is definitely going to be my alma mater for the rest of my life. The School of Business has been a blessing. The faculty has been a blessing, and so I'm just glad that I chose Central as my college to attend. The biggest challenge, I would say, was to get, accustomed to the college setting, since my parents never went to college in America. They went back home. And so it was a new thing for me. I was always a test subject and throughout my years, like being in the new school system. So being here was per se a little bit challenging in the sense of just getting used to the curriculum, not being able to ask my family, hey, this is how you got to do it, what classes you got to definitely take. So I feel like Central, they have a great staff in the sense that they told me what classes I need to take and get where I need to get. I've always been passionate about real estate, so I want to go into development of real estate. So I do have a few mentors that I'm being mentored by right now, and from that sense, I'm just going to learn their trade, just be under them. I am probably going to have a job opportunity under one of my mentors in the next coming weeks, so we'll just see where that takes me. I feel like Central is such a close-knit community. Everybody knows everybody, everybody helps. So many people are so friendly here, and I never really had any animosity just walking around. I said hey to somebody. Nobody really had a bad negative impression on that. So I just, as a whole, I like Central. I feel like the School of Business has so much to give to the community, in the surrounding community, and that's what I really want to take a part of and be a part of, is to just make Central grow in that sense, because I really have fallen in love with Central. And I tell everybody that I know that Central is such a great school, I mean, everybody, like I said, here is such a family, and I think we do press that, and even the Chancellor said we are a family, so it's a beautiful thing.